Good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the January 9th, 2023 meeting of CB11's Human Services Committee. My name is Isaac Scott, and I'm the chair of this committee. This meeting is called to order at 6:03 p.m. Tonight, we are joined by Community Associate Marlene Pierre, the staff liaison to our committee. To conduct an efficient meeting, let's observe some ground rules. Firstly, no one may speak until granted the floor. CB11 members, if you have a question about board business or wish to make a motion, please raise your hand through Zoom. If you click the participants icon, the participants panel should appear and you should find the raise hand function there. If you still have technical difficulty, you may click the chat icon and relay your difficulty to the staff. The chat function should not be used for CB11 business or questions about agenda topics. All such remarks should be made on the record by raising your hand through the Zoom. Chat should only be used to alert us to any technical difficulties you are having or to state in writing information like an email address that was already stated aloud on the record during the meeting. When a member is given the floor to speak, I will identify you and you can unmute yourself so that you can speak. To that point, can everyone just make sure they're on mute right now, please? Thank you, appreciate you all. Please keep your questions and comments succinct and germane to the discussion. Members of the public, if you have a question or comment about the subjects on the agenda, please raise your hand through the Zoom and wait to be acknowledged. We will now take attendance by roll call. Board members, you can unmute yourselves and answer present when you hear your name called.
April Autry.
Present.
Juhab Chowdhury. Osendi Garcia. Brandon Gillespie.
Here.
Jennifer Meyer.
Present.
Arturo Perez.
Present.
Isaac Scott.
Present.
Robin Stration.
Present.
And Anne Marie Vasquez. You have a quorum, Isaac.
Thank you. The agenda for tonight's meeting was distributed ahead of time by the board office and was posted online. If there's no objections, we will adopt the agenda as stated, excuse me. Committee members, if you object to adopting the agenda, you may raise your hand through the Zoom. Take a look. I don't see any raised hands. The minutes for a draft of the minutes from our last meeting were distributed to the committee members ahead of time by the board office. If there is no objection, we will adopt the minutes from that meeting. Committee members, if you object to adopting the minutes, you may raise your hand through the Zoom. Okay. Seeing no objections, the draft minutes from the last committee minutes are adopted. They'll soon be available. The actual minutes will soon be available on the CB11 website. We can transition now into our announcement section. First, I want to just say again to anyone coming on now, Happy New Year. Thank you for being here. Welcome. Forgive me if it's a little disorienting. I have two monitors, so I actually have you guys on the monitor that I'm looking at now. So forgive me if you see the side of my face more than the front of it. I am, looking directly at you. I want to make sure I'm looking at you all when I'm speaking. So I just wanted to just state that. But announcements. We don't have a big agenda today. We actually had a few cancellations, so there should be a relatively smooth evening. The first announcement is related again to our emergency executive order. Mayor Adams issued an emergency executive order 291, which extends the emergency declaration for 30 days through January 20th, 2023. So as it has been for us, we will be meeting via Zoom through this date, unless we hear unless there is another order extended, we will then transition into meeting in person. So we'll keep you posted, but as of right now, all meetings up until the 20th of January will be held virtually by CB11. Secondly, I don't know, let me check the participants, see if Xavier, are you on, Xavier? Yes, I see you here, brother. So I wanted to transition. I added here an announcement. We were hoping to get the senior director of community engagement and community affairs for Mount Sinai Health Center to give us some updates on the clinical services amid the nurses strike, but he wasn't able to make it. So I asked Xavier if he can give a few words. If you are good, my brother, could you please unmute yourself?
Yeah, hi Isaac. Hey everyone, Happy New Year. Let me just pull up the notes with Brad Beckstrom. He was planning on being here, and then they're having ongoing meetings with what's going on with the strike right now, and he just wanted to address what services are being provided by the hospital. He again extends his apologies. He said that right now they're just going to be in planning meetings and trying to get everyone back to the table, but the bottom line is the hospital does remain open. The key changes are that emergency procedures and the emergency room is open, but they are having to divert on occasion to other locations at this point in time, but the hospital is open. So if your child, like my son, who had a response to RSV and needed to go and have a nebulizer, they're providing those services. Those are still being covered right now. So the ER is open. Elective procedures, say, for example, if you had to go get your medial collateral ligament reattached from a sports injury or twisting your knee, that kind of stuff, certain hernia procedures, those are electives that can wait a little while. They are putting those on hold. There are other more urgent procedures that, because they don't have the staffing right now, that they can't address, but the ER room is open, and they're trying to keep things flowing as much as possible. He will give updates as he has them, and he will be communicating to me directly over text. Of course, I'm forwarding that immediately to our chair of human services, Isaac, and to Angel, and we're trying to keep everyone updated. That's the update I have for right now, and he hopes to return next month for February to kind of give hopefully a more felicitous update. So that's what I have right now.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you very much. Are there any questions for Xavier right now? I will. No questions. Xavier, thank you again, my brother. I appreciate you.
No, thank you. I'm here at everyone's service, and have a great meeting.
Okay. Thank you.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you too, sir. So we're going to transition now. So the last announcement I wanted to make was regarding an initiative that I'm particularly leading through some funding we got from the Ford Foundation. We have extended the deadline to apply as a teaching artist or workshop facilitator. It has been extended from January.
Figure that out. You're wasting a lot of screens there.
Let me just
Like it a lot.
Thank you. Yeah, because I will definitely, I'm gonna thank you, Marlene, but definitely be the mute police. Okay, so again, the deadline to apply as a teaching artist or workshop facilitator has been extended from December 31st to January 16th. Just a little bit about the initiative. The mission of the Strategic Arts Engagement Initiative is to provide free artistic literacy, professional development, and capacity building trainings and workshops in East Harlem and virtually. The workshops will begin this spring and are open to ages 16 and up. The only thing that's required is registration. And that's really just signing up on a Google form, sharing your interests. Artistic literacy courses will run for 8 weeks on Saturday afternoons. They will be in person on 116th Street and Madison Avenue at the Another Choice Youth and Family Outreach Solution Center at the Mount Zion AME Church. For the artistic literacy courses, they are limited participants because there's limited equipment and they're in person. But for the professional development workshops, those are one-time workshops that will be held 2 hours long in duration over Zoom, and we'll be able to have more participants who can take part in that. Specifically, why this is important, and I wanted to specifically bring it up here. I'm going to give a more thorough presentation on this tomorrow night at Youth and Education, but there are among the traditional artistic literacy workshops, including like illustration, graphic design, photography, film and design, creative writing, dance, and theater, there are also professional development workshops specifically for people working in areas doing things such as art therapy, or workshop facilitators who are working with sensitive populations. So some of the development workshops are trauma-informed teaching, health enhancement through the arts. And the goal of the entire initiative is really to show the different ways in which the arts can be used to further the work and increase community engagement and social engagement. So I'm going to leave the link in the chat for people to look at more. If you have any questions about it, I'll entertain some now if you do, if I didn't cover something. But again, I'll give a more thorough breakdown of everything tomorrow night at Youth and Education with pictures and everything. But yeah, wanted to bring that to you all's attention so that you could register if you wanted to take part, or if you wanted to bring your own. That's the other thing I wanted to say. In looking for workshop facilitators and teaching artists, the workshops have an overall goal and objective. We are looking for artists and practitioners to bring their specific skill sets and to co-create the curriculums for these courses and for these workshops. They will have a technical component and it's a community enhancement component as well to it. So wanted to just share that as well. But yeah, that's the fullness of that announcement. If there are any questions, please raise your hand and I'll let you know. If not, we'll transition to the next part of our meeting. I'm going to put this in the chat for folks. Take a look at it, share it. Share it. Everything from, you know, even if you know folks who these workshops will cover from, you know, everything from what may seem to be very technical and sophisticated to things as simple as knowing how to manage Google Drive, how to, you know, do file management, you know, how do I correctly take pictures and save them in my phone and update them or upload them, back them up. So if something happens to my device, I can keep my phone. So these workshops are really meant to be a community enhancement tool. So please take a look at it. It's in the chat now. All right. So from there, still seeing no questions. I'm going to transition now to our informational updates. And we can start with the Department of Health and Mental Hygiene. Pauline, good evening. Thank you for joining us.
Good evening, Chair Scott and Community Board 11. Happy New Year. So just wanted to give some quick updates about COVID-19. I'm sure everyone has heard about the new Omicron subvariant XBB1.5. They are saying that this particular variant is more transmissible than other variants. And so the health commissioner did issue an advisory prior to the holiday season that folks should continue wearing their face coverings, especially indoors, but even in outdoor crowded areas. So we really want to encourage folks to continue doing that. We know that throughout the holiday season, people were out and about, and we are seeing the subways getting a little bit more crowded, which is wonderful. We want people to, you know, go back to their daily routine, but it is advisable that we all continue wearing our face coverings, especially in more crowded locations, just to, you know, for personal precaution. Again, the core 4 guidance still stands. If you are not feeling well, please stay home. And then if you do test positive at home, there are a variety of options for you to get treatment. We work with a pharmacy called Alto Pharmacy, where if prescribed to you, COVID-19 treatment would be delivered to your home free of charge. So that is something that we would like the city and our residents to take to utilize in case they are sick and they do fall into that category where prescription medication would be helpful and beneficial to them. All of this information, I want to remind everyone, is on our website, and all of the latest trends and data is also on our website. And I looked right before our meeting, and it looks like East Harlem's numbers for cases are it is higher than the rest of the city meaning Manhattan. I'm from Manhattan, so I always say the city is Manhattan, but for the rest of Manhattan, with the exception of Battery Park and Hell's Kitchen. So we just want to make sure that everyone, particularly in East Harlem, again, please get boosted if you haven't done so already. And just remember the core 4 guidance. With regards to MPOX, there aren't really, thankfully, that many new updates. It looks as though cases are remaining at a 0 for the last 7 days, which is great. But again, if people would like information, our website is being updated, but I believe that our sort of internal emergency activation for MPOX will be ramping down pretty soon. So that's good news in a sense. However, if you feel like there's still information that the community needs, please let me know. I'll be happy to provide, any of the digital material we have. But again, highly advise everyone go onto our website to get the latest information. We also have, weekly data, I believe, surveillance data on flu. And I think we link to the CDC on RSV cases, all of which are slowly decreasing across the city and across the nation. But again, we really want to make sure people are just doing their best and taking those personal precautions again, because, whatever can help with COVID-19 also helps prevent flu and RSV. So that's my biggest update. If anyone has any questions, I'm happy to answer them. And yeah, that's it.
Thank you very, very much, Pauline. Are there any questions regarding anything that was stated in the updates? Okay, going once, going twice. Pauline, thank you very much again for your updates. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
I muted myself. So we're going to move on to East Harlem Co-Ed, and I believe we have Selena Hernandez on. Is that right?
Yep,
So,
I'm on.
hey, how are you?
I'm well. How are you?
Good.
Happy New Year, and Happy New Year to all. So a couple of updates. One is that we have become whole cohorts for NISM Strengthening Communities program, which basically offers and it helps community networks build out their emergency preparedness plan and support local community resources. So our mission is always to make East Harlem and Harlem in general a safer, more prepared. So all this helps. In addition, we've received a 2-year grant from McNulty through their Global Impact Fund, and we are going to be working in partnership with Union Settlement to help local businesses develop or revisit their emergency preparedness plans. So that will be happening as of 2023. Carol Johnson, our liaison, just did a preparedness event for seniors at Beatrice Lewis, which was highly successful. We will be talking to East Harlem tutorial program pre-K and kindergarten classes the week of MLK. And we're going to be doing a simplified but also important informational on emergency preparedness. And then lastly, with the Omicron variants being high and COVID still very much in effect, we are providing PPE. We store and distribute it. So if any organization or group or individual needs PPE, whether it be gloves, hand sanitizer, a test kit, or mask, please reach out to us at eastharlemcoed@gmail.com, and I will put that in the chat. And our next meeting is January 19th at 4 p.m. We had tried to go in person in December, but had to pivot for obvious reasons. And so it will be online for all of you who would like to join us. Thank you.
Lena, thank you so much for your updates. Thank you very much. Are there any questions right now for East Harlem Co-Ed? our disaster management organization. Thank you, Selena, for all of the work that you're doing. And please send my love to Carol, please.
I will. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I'm sorry.
I'll accept it myself.
Hey, how you doing?
God bless you. Happy
bless
New Year, everyone.
Happy New
So
Year.
good
Thank
to
you.
see you. I love you back.
Yes, thank you for your work. Thank you. So we will transition next to have, I'm sorry, I couldn't see Marlena. Is there someone on to give updates for Borican Neighborhood
Yes.
Health Center?
Yes, Anne Marie Vasquez.
Oh,
Sorry, I
hey.
wasn't
Okay, I
present
didn't
in the
see you.
roll call.
No worries, no worries. Thank you. You right on time. Go ahead and give your update.
Okay, so I'm Anne Marie Vasquez from Borinquen Neighborhood Health Center. Just a few updates. We have our COVID and flu vaccine site up and running. It's open Monday through Saturday from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. Saturdays 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. All walk-ins accepted. Anyone in the community can come in and get their vaccine. You don't have to be a patient. A patient. And also as well as the flu shot. So you don't have to go to CVS and Dwayne Reed to get your shot. You could come to Borinquen. It's a quick and easy process. And just a fun fact for everyone, we were the first health center and the only health center right now still running a COVID vaccine site in East Harlem, Monday through Saturday, 9 to 4. We opened in April 2021 and we're still running strong. The second update is our prenatal services started in September of 2022. We are working with Metropolitan Hospital and Mount Sinai Hospital for the labor and delivery for the moms. And we are expecting our first Borinquen baby in February of 2022. So next month, we're excited for our first baby. Our oral surgeon is working at our dental department. I believe he's working 3 days a week. I could get more information on his schedule, but we do have an oral surgeon now on site. And we also have a registered dietitian nutritionist working at Borinquen Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, who is helping clients lose weight, eat healthier and better, as well as helping those who want to gain weight, because it goes both ways as well. She's available. She has availability. Anyone interested to in their nutritional health and see her for services. She does telehealth and she's on site. And you don't have to be a patient also to be able to come and see our registered dietitian nutritionist. And that's it. Any questions?
Thank you so much, Anne-Marie. Are there any questions for Anne-Marie? No questions? Okay.
You
Thank
guys
you
can
very
come and
much.
tour. I remember I invited all you guys last month to come and tour our place. So you're all welcome to come. We're very
yes.
busy.
Yeah, so now that I'm actually finished schooling, I was just telling Xavier this, I'm there. So I'm going to be hitting you up to get that.
Okay,
tour.
awesome. We expect you.
Yes, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Seeing no hands, thank you again for the updates, Anne-Marie.
Problem.
We can transition into our business section now. No, excuse me, I'm sorry, into our presentation and discussion session. So actually, we were expecting Mr. Rakesh Dulam from, let me not even say that, forgive the pronoun, but Rakesh Dulam, the family advocate from the East Harlem Family Enrichment Center at Union Settlement, but I believe their position has been changed, so we'll have to circle back with them on who will actually come and give us that update. Is that correct, Marlene? Did I report on that correctly? Thank you very much. Cool. So with that, if there are no objections, and if this is within my purview, I want to switch the order of the agenda a bit so that we can handle what we have for our old business, and then we can finish the meeting about us, dealing with our accomplishments and our goals for 2023, if that's cool with y'all. So if you were at the last meeting, remember we had a presentation from exponents, and we are going to continue that discussion today. They have requested a letter for support to expand their harm reduction services, which will include syringe and Narcan distribution on Wards Island. And just if you're not aware, Exponents provides discrete substance use treatment and harm reduction services to residents of Help USA shelters on Wards Island. The services will also include HIV, HEPC testing, and referrals to, and okay, I can't say that word, ancillary. I'm sorry, yeah, forgive me. Ancillary services. Forgive me, Mr. Turner and Mr. Powell. I know, yeah, I'm killing your
Oh,
day
that's
with that.
that's
Forgive
cool.
me.
That's cool.
Yeah. So if there are no if we're cool, Marlene, can we switch these two things and take care of this first?
Committee agrees, yes.
Okay. Does anybody object to us swapping and taking a look at this letter of request first and then going and doing our goals and objectives? I don't see any objections. So yes, I think we're good. Okay, so I think the best thing to do from here is to pull up the letter of recommendation. I hope that everyone had a chance to look through the organizational assessment that we sent over to exponents. We created a organizational assessment for this purpose, for providers who are coming into the neighborhood or within our scope and were expanding services or providing new services. And we wanted to be able to get a sense of the work they were doing, who they were partnering with, how many people are impacted in our neighborhood, who's hiring, different questions. There's a lot on the assessment form. We gave it to them at the close of our last meeting in December. I'm just going to, someone's not muted. Yeah, so we gave it to them at the end of our last meeting, and they gave it right back to us immediately, filled out. I want to say I appreciate you all. Thank you for doing that and getting it back to us all with enough time to review. It was sent to the community and the community board several times. So I hope that folks had a chance to look through it. At this time, I would like to pull up the letter of support. Marlene, would you mind sharing screen on this one? I'm sorry. I can pull up if you don't have it.
No problem. Just give me a second, please.
No problem. And from there, we can pull it up, review the letter, and if there are any final questions based on anything that was in the organizational assessment, or if there are any questions about the language in this document, this is the time to speak on that. So that's what we'll do. We'll just give Marlene a few seconds to get the document up.
Isaac, you're on mute.
I said so much just now. The document is up. I know, right? The document is up on the screen. Please take a look at it. Yes, take a look at it. While I get my monitors ready over here, I'm going to then read it on the record, and then we can go from there. Okay, so I believe that this this information, Mr. Powell and Mr. Turner, these highlighted sections, absent the date, is information that we need from you specifically. You know, if the letter is passed, we would need to know, dear, who was it going to, recipient. So there was just some information that we needed to put there. The address, you know, that as well.
Right. So Isaac, if I could, so do you want us to send you a like a sampler that's ready for your signature? I mean, where we would fill.
No,
No.
I don't think we need you to do that. I think that
Okay.
this, no, if this is the language in this document is good with you, and it's good with this, and it's good with this community board, we can use this document right here.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm gonna just, is that okay?
That's fine, thank you.
Cool. All right, so I'm stop muting myself first. I'm going to read this out on the floor. Community Board 11 supports Exponent's expansion of harm reductive services, which will include syringe and Narcan distribution through Help USA on Wards Island, located at blank. For 35 years, Exponents has provided services to 2,500 plus unique individuals annually, most of whom are persons who have been impacted by HIV and AIDS, substance abuse, incarceration, and behavioral health challenges. The services are administered through a client-centered, strength-based approach, which greatly improves health outcomes and promotes overall wellness in our communities. Forgive me. Exponents conduct services throughout the 5 boroughs with a particular focus on Northern Manhattan, Central Brooklyn, and the South Bronx. We request that Exponents be given the opportunity to expand their harm reduction services through Help USA on Wards Island. The expansion of their harm reductive services will include syringe and Narcan distribution on Wards Island. We request that this organization return to provide updates to our Human Services Committee within 30 days from the start date of administration of services on Wards Island. So I want to open this first up to community board members. Do you have any comments, thoughts? Would you like to weigh in? Are there any questions? This is the opportunity to weigh in on what was the information provided in the organizational assessment, as well as what is written here on in this letter of support. So I'm going to, okay, I see Xavier. Go ahead, please.
Trying to unmute. Would we be able to pull up the organizational assessment on the screen as well?
Yeah, let me.
So the committee and everyone can see it, and for the public as well.
Yeah, Marlene, may you please stop sharing? I actually have both of them up in the same window I can share. Thank you, appreciate you. Okay. So can you guys see this? You see my screen? You guys can see it. Can you also see the letter of support I just clicked to? Great, so we're good. Okay, so this is is there something in particular, Chair, that you wanted to review specifically? Would you like to, I mean, the document is pretty extensive. I hadn't planned on reading it all the way through, but if the
But
committee.
you don't need to read it through at all. Sorry to interrupt. You can just scroll through it real quick so it's on the screen. You don't need to, because this is recorded.
Okay.
You don't have to read it all, just to allow people and any members of the public who haven't seen it the opportunity. That'll be helpful, just so for disclosure, transparency purposes. I think it'll be helpful. Yeah, that was all, just so that we're, thank you.
No worries, no worries. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to scroll very slowly through this. And just covering the questions, just to add some sort of context here. So this question's organizational structure. How long has your organization been operating in East Harlem? Who has authorized your location in East Harlem? Does your organization have a community advisory board? I actually had a question here, Mr. Turner.
Yes.
My question was I was a little bit confused on this. It says Exponents Visioning Board meets quarterly with members from our program and family members from impacted community. Individuals requesting membership are provided. Membership to what specifically? To be able to give input? That's what I wanted to know.
Yeah, I think with Donald Powell is actually coordinating this visioning board, which is in essence a community advisory board. Donald, do you want to address that? Mm-hmm.
And so while it's a very open process, good afternoon, everyone, and Happy New Year, first of all. There are specific requirements that we are incumbent upon to kind of manifest through this process through the New York State Office of Addiction Support and Services. So one of those is that we have an open application, a process whereby anybody who's interested in joining the visioning board creates an application with contact information, a little bit of personal information about why they want to participate, what their impact of addiction has been, and then they get vetted for the actual visioning board and can provide input on a regular basis.
Thank you very much for that. Any other questions on that? If not, I'm going to keep scrolling. I can't see the participants window, Marlene. If anyone does have their hands raised, we can take questions. So in this part, program services, initiatives. Leave this up here for a few seconds for folks to read. Key in here. What is the current estimated percentage of East Harlem residents, families served by your organization? Could I go out on a limb here, Mr. Turner or Mr. Powell, and assume that the 4% of people from East Harlem hired work in the East Harlem areas, sites, or will? No, just wondering. Mr. Powell, Mr. Turner.
So one of the staff members is someone from our outpatient clinical program. And so of course that individual will be involved in the program. The other thing, in addition to the staff, we have 4 dedicated trained peers that are also going to participate in this process. And 2 of those individuals are also from East Harlem.
Okay, okay. Thank you very much for that. I can't help but ask this question. What were this in particular? I don't know if that was a typo. Was this in reference to Exodus?
I think it was a typo.
Okay, no worries.
Trying to get it to you in a hurry.
I did wonder when I saw it. But specifically, these are our community. The question asks, how does your organization partner with other organizations to provide the best quality services? So here, Exponents works closely with several institutions in East Harlem, including Harlem United, On Point, New York City, Union Settlement, and Exodus. So I just wanted to point that out, because these are some of the things that come up in questions. Who are your partners in the community? Who are you serving? So it's highlighting this for board members and community members. I did have another question as well, and that's regarding a lot of the stuff that's starred in red. I'm not sure how much of it is actually applicable to the documents that your organization does create, but were there, and I can follow up with this also, but I will follow up with this, but wanted to know if any of these extra documents we were requesting, do you put these together? Or rather, are these sorts of documents on file? Needs assessments, specifically complaints received by your organization regarding your East Harlem location, or you're moving, you're expanding services, but just in general, maybe if yes.
So very quickly, Isaac, we have no complaints based on the work that we've done in East Harlem. Although we don't have a physical location, we utilize our mobile testing unit to do HIV, HCV testing, as well as the outreach that we do. And then the other question about the gaps analysis and the needs assessment, that information is specific to Help USA. So I think we'd have to have a conversation about them in terms of, because a lot of it is specific to staff competency around harm reduction services and that type of thing.
Okay.
Right. And all of our programs, for the most part, our drug treatment program, our professional education, KSAC, recovery coach training, are all registered and licensed by New York State. And we've had no complaints regarding them, even though they do have a mechanism or the Justice Center to review complaints that are lodged by clients. But we are, we have indeed are regularly audited by the state with our other programs.
And we just reviewed any Justice Center complaints, and we've had none, going back 7 years at least.
Thank you. Is that Ms. Fernandez? Thank you. Okay. I can't see the participants. Are there any hands raised, Marlene, right now? Is any?
No, there aren't any hands raised.
Okay, I'm going to keep going. Thank you very much for providing this information. Okay. Okay. I was also hoping if you could, as much as is possible, if you could speak a little bit to what this process looks like for folks who may be on the call but don't know what that means.
Sure. Exponents is, as Joe mentioned, licensed by the New York State OASAS, Office of Alcoholism and Substance Abuse Addiction Services. And every 3 years, they come in and do a comprehensive audit of our billing, our patient care, our facilities, and every other aspect of the clinic to ensure that we are providing high quality and appropriate care to our participants. And we recently wrapped up our most recent credentialing visit. Our last one, we got the highest possible license, which is 3 years. And though we're in the midst of our exit process now for this current one, all feedback has been overwhelmingly positive. So we should have a new license for you within a number of weeks.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Isaac.
No, thank you. Thank you. I'm going to keep scrolling if I don't hear anything about any hands in the chat. Okay. Could you, it is pretty self-explanatory, but could you expound on these a little bit more, this transitioning, shifting into telephonic services?
So early on in March of 2020, we literally closed the agency down for several months. And to ensure that we were able to continue to stay connected to our participants who were, dealing with, additional heightened levels of isolation, apprehension, anxiety, we quickly shifted to a telehealth model where we were able to connect with individuals on their phones, on their other devices. And we were actually able to utilize our connection to our funders to redirect some funding to help those individuals with federally issued devices to purchase extra minutes to be in participation with us. As the restrictions relaxed a bit and we were able to get back in office, we decided to maintain that virtual presence and offer people in conjunction with our client-centered way of doing business the option of either coming in person or through the virtual platform.
Thank you very much, Mr. Powell. Okay, I believe that brings us to our last question. So that is the fullness of the assessment. Okay, Xavier, you raised your hand. Thank you. Okay, I can see. Thank you.
Thank you very much. It's so important for because we get the emails, we get to see the information filled out. So thank you very much for sharing that. It allows it for it to be held, even though it'll be attached on the minutes and the website and everything later on. And I appreciate everyone for being back in this space. If we could just help both the committee and the public understand the 12% or approximately 300 people being serviced, because your services right now are completely isolated to Randall's Ward Island. What was the process for identifying that 12%? And of the remaining 88% of Randall's Ward Island, I'm presuming that's where they're getting their services. Where did they self-identify?
So the 12% reflects individuals that are currently accessing either our mobile testing unit where we provide HIV testing and HCV testing. We've done that on the corner of 125th and Lex. We've done that on the corner of 116th and Park. And so, but it's also our outreach teams are engaging individuals, not with harm reduction materials, but just with information on our programs, about how to access our helpline, our 24/7 helpline number. So those are the individuals that we count amongst those 300 individuals.
Right.
Okay, and so then the other 88%, where are they domiciled, or where is that interaction occurring, just so we can make sure we have the right stats?
So a significant percent of our individuals, about 33%, come from areas in central Brooklyn. There's about 30% that come from areas in the South Bronx. There's a small mixture of individuals, about 9%, that come from either Queens or Staten Island, although we're seeing an increase in individuals from Staten Island since we've settled down in the financial district.
Right. And these are, Xavier, these are clients, these are clients that are coming to our main office, coming to us for services. And out of that, in addition to the numbers that Donald talked about for outreach, you know, the entire 100% of our clients, those are the percentages and their demographics that are accessing our main services. For Ward's Island, this will be a discrete population of those that are domiciled in the Help USA shelters.
Okay, so what I was trying to get at is that I guess in you filling out the questionnaire, you were pulling out the 12% of your total portfolio citywide. Is that correct?
Yes.
Or
yes.
Okay. So of that 12%, so again, to clarify for the committee, because as I'm sure you've seen, and we appreciate you being in the space, just so you can see the challenges we've dealt with is, and I appreciate our chair of human services, because we had a wonderful conversation about, you know, how do we get through the weeds together and saying, are we, you know, making sure that people that need services here are getting it? Because as we know, legally, they can go wherever they want to get treatment. And it's kind of like, how do we determine, you know, the percentiles? And so if I'm hearing correct, of your total portfolio, 12% being served are from the Randall's Ward Island area, per interaction also too with your HIV testing, Hep C testing, and your outreach vans at 125th and Lex and 116th and Park, if I recall. So that is how you're getting that aggregate there of 12% to make up of your total touch points, correct?
The 12% does not count any individuals from Woods Island because that work has not officially began yet. So all of this comes from either outreach engagement by our trained peers or individuals accessing our mobile testing unit in the areas that I identified, either for HIV or HCV testing, and most recently for assistance with Mpox vaccination appointments.
Okay. And so then final follow-up then, of those interactions, have they identified from being from the community or transient?
The individuals either reside or congregate for other services in those areas.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate that. Claire.
Thank you very much, Chair, for those questions. And thank you very much, Mr. Powell, Mr. Turner, and Ms. Fernandez, for just being here, being present, being so willing to answer questions. We really do appreciate that. And I wish we could just like have you guys as a model for how other organizations could be dealing with this, you know. With that, are there any other questions from any other board members before I open the floor up for a vote? Any questions? I don't see the chat. I only see if a hand raises, then I get a little alert. So I don't see an alert. So I'm going to assume no hands have been raised. So I'm going to take this time to entertain a motion to support Exponent's expansion of harm reductive services, which will include syringe and Narcan distribution through Help USA on Ward's Island. Is there a motion? I see, I can't see any hands. Can I stop sharing? So I can't see. I'm gonna just stop sharing so I can see. Okay, Robin, thank you. Can you please?
You're welcome. Yes, I don't have the wording in front of me anymore, Chair, but okay. I support.
I'm gonna put it back up for you. I couldn't see the so here you go.
Thank you. I suggest that the board accepts and signs this letter of support from exponents regarding their expansion of harm reduction services, including syringe and Narcan distribution through Help USA on Ward's Island.
Thank you, Robin. Do we have a second?
So welcome.
April,
I second it.
thank you. Can we do the roll call, Marlene?
April Autry,
Yes.
Brandon Gillespie,
Yes.
Jennifer Meyer,
Yes.
Arturo Perez,
Yes.
Isaac Scott,
Yes.
Robin Strachan,
Oh, yes.
and Anne Marie Vasquez.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you very, very much. So we do need something from you all. We still do need you to email us the recipient of the letter and the address.
Great, great.
Yes,
And
if you could do that.
I just want to take an opportunity just to thank, wow, you all made us feel at home. You know, I feel like I'm sitting on that couch in back of Isaac. You welcomed us, and really thank you so much for your trust in us, and we'll do good on that. You know, it's been in our DNA to meet people where they are, and we thank you for your faith in us. And on behalf of exponents, the board, and everyone, thank you very much for your hospitality.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing my screen now. So having concluded that portion of the meeting, now we can focus on ourselves for a little bit of self-care for the Human Services Committee. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
very
you.
much.
We'll get you that information. Take care. Good night.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay. I didn't want us to feel rushed as we went through this part of our meeting. So I didn't want to have something else for us to do after this. It would be a good note if we could finish on this, and this will take us into the work we are going to be doing moving forward. So yes, our committee discussion regarding accomplishments from 2022 and goals for 2023. So as per the procedure, the standard procedure for CB11, we usually put out 3 accomplishments. That's what I was told. So I limited our accomplishments to 3. I feel like I could have squozed 4 in there if I really was thinking, because I feel like we were, doing our best these last 6-7 months. But 3 is fine. I think they were 3 very good accomplishments. Could we go to the next slide? Yeah, so the first accomplishment was and we just actually saw this first accomplishment at work. We revised and completed our organizational questionnaire to establish and maintain healthy working relationships with the organizations serving our community. So it took us some time. It's very comprehensive. We did ask a lot of questions, and me looking at it the other day, probably after like the 50th time, but now with someone filling it out, I was like, wow, we did ask a question or 2 twice on there in different ways, but it's okay. I appreciate their patience in answering it consistently, but I'd rather it be repetitive than it forget and leave out information. We did want to not only use that document to build relationship, but also to allow it to become a data set for us. So this information will be then put into a spreadsheet where we can then look at the numbers across organizations. and we can compare and we can do that cross analysis and all of that other stuff. So this is our first steps into building data around, the Human Services Committee and enabling ourselves to have the numbers we need to be able to, state what we need to state as a scientific fact. It goes a long way. So that was our first accomplishment. Congratulations to everybody. Could we just, I'm gonna snap it up for everybody because this is a shared accomplishment. Appreciate you all. Could we go to the next one, Marley? Thank you. Okay, so we added 2 new budget requests to the DOH-MH. The requests were made to DOH-MH for fiscal year 24. And I'll read it off. The first one was, there's a need to include additional public advocacy personnel and contractors who provide more culturally engaging and innovative ways to better inform people receiving drug treatment services. I believe, I just noticed this, Marlene, there's a typo. I think it's supposed to be about open drug use, family exposure to drug use and its long-term impact. So that was the first one. That was the first budget request we had. The second one is, it was another one made specifically to the Department of Health and Mental Hygiene. And this was a request to provide funding for additional personnel contractors to take proactive measures to mitigate hazardous waste such as discarded hypodermic needles surrounding treatment facilities by routinely and thoroughly assessing treatment facilities outside parameters, including street block for needles and other harmful drug paraphernalia. So I know specifically for this one, we wanted to have more explicit language about cleanup of hazardous waste around these particular sites. So that was another accomplishment. We did add 2 new, funding budget items, and we will continue to beat down this door and continue whatever it takes. If it means we re-articulate, if we come with information, I don't know what other, however, whatever it takes to strengthen our request, we'll do that, but we have it now recorded on the record. So shout out to you, Human Services, for another second accomplishment. Our third accomplishment I wanted to note was the addition of 2 new organizations to provide monthly updates. So originally we had the Department of Health and Mental Hygiene, who have been consistent in giving us community update or monthly updates, excuse me. And when we came on, we were able to include East Harlem COAD. We are very, 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 very appreciative of you guys, and also Borican Neighborhood Health Center. And they are in the second month of giving their monthly updates. So this is one of the things that I personally wanted to do when I took this role as the chair, was to ensure that these meetings were as informative as possible. So including, different organizations to be able to give us monthly updates is something that I am very much in favor of. And I hope that you all will support me in that, because I think these monthly updates will keep us all, connected, in that we're getting, new, fresh information that we can use to, move forward and just upload our health and humanity and upkeep our health and humanity. So those are the 3 accomplishments I wanted to highlight for the Human Services Committee in 2022. So shout out to you all for those accomplishments. I appreciate working with you all. I really do. It may not, feel like we're doing it, but we're doing it. And that was one of the reasons I really wanted to, hone in on some things that we were able to do, because we are, it's a lot going on, and it may not seem like what we're doing is having an impact on a larger issue, but it is. It really is. And all of these small, steps that we're taking, and these small victories will amount to a larger one. So again, thank you for those, for that and all of your work. Let's talk about some goals that we have for 2023. I can kick us off with 2 goals that I had, and they are directly related to the excuse me, they're directly related to the accomplishments that we just listed. One of them was to aggressively disseminate this organizational questionnaire that we have this year. I really would like, we have a spreadsheet already compiled with organizations who work in our community. So we're going to reach out to them directly. I'm going to be on foot, going to meet people, handing it to them directly. However we can get it back, get the information. I'm going to be a lot more present, and we are all, you know, I would like for us to all set as a goal to get this organizational questionnaire out so that we can get the information back and get people to come before us and speak about the work that they're doing. We want to know about it. Another goal that I personally hope that you all can join me on is I would like to add two more, I want to say persons or representatives to the update section. One is the NYPD in relation to the work that they are doing specifically with our open drug treatment centers, open drug use treatment centers. So they mentioned the Department of Health and Mental Hygiene. The Department of Mental Health and Hygiene mentioned in their responses that they are working, you know, with the NYPD. So I mentioned to Xavier, and he's gonna connect us with, I forgot who Xavier's on, he can let us know, but he'll connect us with someone, a representative from the NYPD who can come on and speak to us regarding these specific updates. Xavier, you on? You're not busy at the moment, right?
Yeah, I'm here managing a little one who's not eating his dinner.
Right.
So I apologize.
worries.
Yes, so I've been in communication since the start of the new year to get the 2.3 and 2.5 connected. They do show up regularly to public safety and transportation. But to speak as to the work, and I think more importantly, the 2.5 who has the heavier lift in this category, and to have them connect and kind of, you know, give a report back. So we're working out when that can happen. And I'm going to make that connection to you, Isaac, as soon as I have a moment of a child actually finishing his meal.
That's a struggle, man. I appreciate you.
The struggle is real.
That's a real struggle, especially at 7:10 at night. Okay. Thank you for that. So that's one body that I would like to come before so that we can, I think it would go a long way to the public safety concerns that are expressed at the Human Services Committee. You know, a lot of the concerns that are expressed, you know, do in a lot of ways call for cross collaboration between us and the Public Safety Committee. So I don't want to just say that's not under our purview, because if we're advocating for a service, then part of that service is ensuring that that service doesn't provide a harmful, you know, have a harmful side effect to other people who have to be exposed to it in other ways. So it's important that we are balancing this. So I wanted to bring, that was something that I had in mind. Also specifically related to the legalization of marijuana, and there being, soon we will have our first dispensary in East Harlem. It will be coming before our committees. And I know, you know, folks are feel different ways about this. And I wanted to have someone who works specifically. I have someone in mind. I won't name them yet until I can get in contact with them and confirm them. But I do want to bring some health, someone in from the, a cannabis organization, but also in lines with that. Sorry, I'm saying a lot. Someone to give us updates on the progress of the cannabis industry in East Harlem. So someone who can keep us updated on what's going on, what might be happening, what we should expect, and all of those sort of things. With respects to folks' concern about, you know, the medical implications of marijuana, I am personally going to be looking, I have some folks in mind that I've worked with at Columbia University who specifically do drug research, and I wanted to invite them to come to present to us about some things. I think that there's a lot that we're going to have to deal with, whether we like it or not, with respects to the fact that marijuana is legal. So we do have to, you know, we can't ignore its presence, so we will have to take the time to, as a collective, educate ourselves on marijuana, its potential harms, and also, just understanding what is going to be happening regarding the industry in East Harlem. Because, on one hand, we have folks who only see it more adding to the open drug use crisis, but others see the economic gain to it, and both are present with this. So it's important that we do address this. We do, have discussion on this. I think the discussion we'll have here will better inform the entire committee about how we want to think about, cannabis in our community. Yes, Chair, I see you. Go ahead, Xavier, I'm good.
Yeah, thank you. Sorry, I was trying to unmute and get the information. I think you were CC'd on this email, as were some of the other chairs. There is a community leaders info session with OCM, the Office of Cannabis Management, this Wednesday, 11th January, from 6 to 8 at 55 East 115th Street. I think I think it went to the Human Services email address.
Yeah.
And so those members and community leaders that wish to attend, we're actually getting a member of the OCM who's going to hopefully demystify or clarify a lot of the regulations, which there seems to be a lot of variance that deviates from the standard state liquor authority process, which is where many of the working task forces across the boards and uptown meetings with our boards are aligning that with the kind of vision that it should be more like the SLA process, which is very cut and dry, very fair. So, but again, there's an info session on Wednesday. So I just wanted to share that.
Yeah, thank you for bringing that up, Xavier. I totally forgot about that, but I am going to be there. So I did have plans on going.
Brilliant.
And reporting back to the committee. And if anybody is not able to attend and has general questions, please send it to myself, Marlene, or the chair, Xavier, and we'll make sure that we, address those questions at the forum. But yeah, so those are some goals that I had for 2023. Just thinking about what's ahead of us. I would love to shut up for a few minutes and hear from you all about some goals that you might have. We've a lot. We got we have a lot on our plate, with everything going on from the strikes to, the people being people who are migrating in. I hate when people are called migrants. I would say the people who are migrating in, things like that. So we have a lot. So I'll shut up now. Robin, please.
Yeah, you made me think about who else we need to hear from. It was great when Noel from Metropolitan used to attend our meetings, and since he left and went to Bellevue, we haven't had a representative from there. But even, I think, more important to our conversation about the impact of drugs in the community, they have an amazing resource in their director of their mental health facility, Ronnie Swift. I mean, for example, she was the first to talk about the impact of, and I forget the name of that fake drug that was packaged like candy. But that was a war in her hospital. So I would love it if we could get her to come back at some point, even quarterly, to talk to us, because her experiences from her side of this addiction is a little different than what we typically hear. For example, she has a really hard time placing people back in supportive housing. They have a lot of different criteria. So I think it would be good to hear from her too. Thanks.
No, thank you. I'm going to follow back up with you about that. And we'll send an invite. Yeah, I think that's great. Any other? I'm going to go ahead and lower that hand, Robin. I see a hand in the attendee section. I will entertain that if no community board members have anything to add at the moment. Stephanie Gonzalez, are you able to unmute yourself?
Yes, I just wanted to add on that I am actually Stephanie Gonzalez, the new director of communications for Metropolitan Hospital. So I have taken over his position. So I just wanted to kind of introduce myself because I did hear her mention his name. So if anything, maybe I can drop just my information in the chat box. I don't know if that's appropriate or not, if she wants to contact me. Just wanted to introduce myself. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much. Look at that. See,
Yeah.
look at that. Great.
Yeah,
We
you're very
appreciate you.
welcome.
And can we take this opportunity to invite you to give monthly updates? Because that's what the correspondence is going to be like coming from me. I'm going to definitely reach out and ask if you or someone from your organization can provide monthly updates to the committee.
Yeah, absolutely. I actually joined last meeting, so I wasn't sure kind of like the direction that you guys wanted me to go in, but I can absolutely give updates. I will leave all of my information on the bottom of the chat. And yes, I look forward to speaking with everyone.
Thank you so much. Look at that.
Thank you.
Appreciate you so much. All right. Okay, so I'm gonna just, yes, thank you, Stephanie. Appreciate you. Okay, great. So are there any other goals that we did have a few months to think about this, but I mean, if there are anything that comes up after this meeting that comes to mind, you watching TV or something or whatever it is, if it comes later, please share it. It helps towards the direction that we're going in. But as of right now, we do have some things that we are very much focused on right now. And we want to also just make sure that we're not leaving any issues behind. Our particular committee, we have immigration, we have mental health services, we have senior services, we have a lot of different, components to the Human Services Committee. So I just wanted to just remind people of that. So if, we ever happen to be, forgetting about a particular issue that is within our purview, please, bring it to, the attention of the committee so that we can, be sure to give it its due attention. So I do want to say that on the record. Yeah. Any other goals? Hey, okay, April.
Thank you. Yeah, I think that my big picture strategic goals, especially being new-ish, I guess it's been almost a year, but newish to the board and to the committee, is really just continuing to listen and learn. And I think for me, it's most important to look through this lens of the diversity and intersectionality of humans, because we're all made up of so many different roles and different identities. And I think it's very easy to focus on, someone is migrating, or someone is female, or someone is, a person who uses drugs, but that we're all so much more than just those one pieces of who we are. So I think that's my big picture kind of focus and how I want to approach everything that I hear and consider. And then I think specifically, my background is in public health. And so I think expanding our role in public health and what that looks like, and making it practical and accessible, and specifically women and female identifying persons. I think of things like domestic violence. I was given a pamphlet, and I think this is a great example of how hearing from the precinct is applicable in human services, right? Because I was given a pamphlet recently from the police department, and it wasn't in multiple languages, and I was walking with my partner, and it's like if I was really unsafe, and so thinking about how do we improve services and access, and look at what's happening and what isn't happening. And again, I think through the lens of public health, but specifically women and girls, maternal health, protecting sexual and reproductive health rights. What does that look like in our community? That's kind of my goal and my vision.
I love that, April. I'm certainly going to need to, we'll have to sit and talk and see what that looks like, because I think that puts us right where we need to be. I agree. I agree with you. Yes. Yeah. Our role in public health. Yeah. Yeah. What does that look like? I think we should have we should that should be a topic of discussion. Perhaps we can add that as a discussion for next meeting. You know, what does that look like? You know, expanding our role in public health, specific to the areas you brought up. There's some other areas that came to mind when I heard you say that. Yeah, that's that. Thank you very much for that. Also, to the first thing you said, it reminded me of what me and Xavier were talking about last week regarding capturing the humanity of the people we're talking about, you know, as we are doing this work here at this committee. So I appreciate you, you know, highlighting it as a personal goal. I think it's a goal that we all, this entire committee can work to ensure, you know, that we're capturing the humanity of people and that we are taking the time to listen. We are, you know, taking that time to listen so that we can learn, remembering intersectionality and not, you know, boxing people into one identity. You know, definitely, I definitely hear you on that, and that is a extended component. I'm always talking about language and how we articulate and talk about, you know, particular people and issues, people period and issues period. And I appreciate this also, just understanding that we're more than just, you know, a word or two about a person or just an experience that a person has had or a situation they might be going through at the moment. So thank you for that reminder. Thank you for that. Anything else you want to add to this? No, I appreciate you. This is great. Any other goals, thoughts, comments on our accomplishments in 2023 goals? Robin, please.
We seem to be skirting around it, at least I think so. You know, we had a moratorium on any supporting expansion of any recovery, addiction programming before we understand them. I think tonight was a demonstration of how to do it right. But we had that moratorium and we were trying to systematically bring people in. I'm not sure where that stands, and I think that it needs to be revisited because it's one of the biggest issues that we try to tackle every year.
You know,
so
Robin,
I think that should be a goal.
Yeah, actually, this organizational assessment is our execution of what we needed to do for the moratorium. So we need to be able to get the information from the organizations. We do need them to come to us. So that's why one of the first goals I mentioned was that we get this organizational questionnaire out there to get the information about from the organizations that we needed to be able to say what we wanted to say or make the claims we were trying to make with the moratorium. I think that
it.
Yeah.
If you and or Marlene need help doing that, please let me know.
Absolutely.
I'd be happy to help.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm actually going to ask everyone's help with that because we all know some organizations that, you know, that a few of us may not know. So we'll have a spreadsheet and I'll share that. And if you want to add organizations or directly just reach out to them yourselves. However, we'll figure it out. But yes, that was the goal. The moratorium is not lost. That was me trying to pick up from where Nah had passed the baton. You know, yeah. Cool. Okay. Any other goals, thoughts, comments? Okay. I'm going to, if I don't hear, I guess if with no more hands, then we can move along. There is no new business. And with that, I believe that we can do a roll call and go home. Is that correct, Marlene?
Yes, sure. April Autry.
Present.
Juhab Chowdhury. Osendi Garcia. Brandon Gillespie.
Here.
Jennifer Meyer,
Present.
Arturo Perez,
Present.
Isaac Scott,
Present.
Robin Stration,
Present.
and Anne Marie Vasquez.
Present.
Thank you.
Thank you all. You all have a good night. I'm going to draft up these goals that were spoken, and we'll be in touch. I appreciate you all. See you all at full board meeting in a few weeks. Have a good night.
Good night. Take care, Isaac. Thank you.
Thank
Good
you.
night, all.
Night.